Hello my gorgeous loves out there and welcome. In today's video, I am going to do a good old tag. I was watching Rachel from Shimmers and Silver and she did the 2022 eyeshadow palette tag. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. I like the questions. And then I found out Annette from Annette's Makeup Corner created the tag. So then I checked out her video and I was like, you know what, I'm set. I'm going to do this tag. I love having a reason to talk about eyeshadow palettes. But before we get into this video, if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Bri and I am just a crazy lover of all things beauty and I like to post a lot of fun, colorful makeup content. I like to do a lot of indie makeup, so if that is what you're into, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. But with that being said, let's get into this video. My loves, this is such a cool tag. It gives me a chance to wrap up my thoughts on all the palettes I tried last year and kind of condense it into this video and give you the ones that I thought were the best, the ones that I regret picking up, the best collab, what I want to see for this year. I just thought it was such a cool tag, and I really liked all the answers that Rachel and Annette provided, so I will make sure to link their videos below so you can check them out for yourself. I will also have all the questions in the description, and I will link all the products that I talk about today. But I think we should just jump right into this tag. So the first question is the most innovative release of last year, and I have the same answer as Annette. I totally agreed with her on this one, but this is the Celestial Garden palette from Beaute Bar. This was a collab with M. Jones, and I was so surprised by this, and I thought it was such a cool setup. But it has all mattes up here, then all these beautiful shifty shimmers, and then cake liners in these split pans, and the cake liners are really good. And then it also had this multi-chrome shade to use as a inner corner highlight, and it went perfect with all the colors in here. I just love the setup. I love the monochromatic rose. It was easy to just come out with a cool look, and just the way they situated, I thought it was just such a smart release, and I love the options that you got in here. I was so happy with looks I was able to create with this. The cake liner formula is amazing. The shimmers are really beautiful, and I really like just the theme and everything behind this palette. So I just thought it was such a smart, fun, cool release, and I just love when brands do something different in their palette and add different formulas that you get to play with. Then the next question is a palette that surprised you the most, and I was shocked at how much I ended up loving this, but this is the Danessa Myricks Transcendence palette. I thought I was going to totally hate this and thought it was overpriced. I kind of went in with that mindset that this was going to be overrated, and it definitely isn't. The multi-chromes and shifty shades in here are so buttery and silky, and I do have similar shades to these from Cleona and Divina, but I'm still happy to have this formula even though I have things similar because they're just so beautiful. Look at this. I'm so happy with all my looks that I've ever been able to create with this palette. They're just so smooth and buttery and effortless, and I actually really like the addition of this row. I didn't think I was gonna get use out of these, but I really do like these water activated chrome liners, and I think the flakes are cool. They're a little hard to work with, but if you just use a little bit, I feel like it can add some cool extraness to a look. So I'm surprisingly happy with this. I love everything in here, and I totally think it was worth every penny, and it just surprised me at how much I ended up loving this palette, and it ranked super high on my all ranking palettes. And then the next question is a palette you regret buying, and I actually have 3 palettes here, and I'm sure if you've watched all my palette reviews from last year, you know what I'm about to talk about. But the first 2 that I wanted to mention are these from ColourPop. Why did I buy this? I am such a joke for getting these. These were from their show collection that they had, and I think the theme and the promo photos made them so much more appealing than what they actually were in person. These are Chalk City. This is the Shells Chalk press palette. The shades in here are so chalky and lackluster, and the metallics they're a joke. And this one, the What the Shell, which I actually like a little better because I think it performs better than this one, but it's still overly neutral, overly light. What was I thinking when I picked these up? The formula is not the usual Good Color Pop formula. They were just total duds, cheap packaging. Like, they suckered me in with that promo. Like, the advertising of that collection was so good that they sucked me in. I don't know what I was thinking, but I really, really regret buying those. And those are totally about to get decluttered. And then the pastel palette from Natasha Denona. I had like these high expectations, like this was going to be like the best pastel palette that I ever tried in my life. And it was like one of the worst. Like, it's an expensive palette, and I thought the like cream to powder formula in here was kind of dry. Like, I couldn't really get them on, and I usually do the technique of like kind of just pressing them on and then like blending out the edges slowly, and even with that it did not work. It just didn't have the pigmentation. It was a very chalky palette. Felt like the metallics were very underwhelming in this, and I think like the pastel palette from Beach Cosmetics is better than this. The pastel palette from Menagerie Cosmetics, the one that I have from Unearthly, like there's a lot of better pastel palettes in my collection. So honestly, I didn't need this, and I will probably keep it because I spent so much money on it that I can't get myself to let it go. I mean, some of the shades are workable, but overall this was not worth the price tag at all, and I should have just waited for reviews to come out before purchasing this. And then the next question is the best collaboration, and I couldn't mention just one. There were so many good collabs last year, like so many amazing ones. I could mention a lot more, but I just wanted to narrow down to ones that I really loved the most. Now, of course, I'm going to mention the Heya palette from Oden, the collab with Angelica Nikovic. I thought this was gorgeous, a grungy dream. Some of the shades are so stunning, and I've been able to create the most beautiful looks with this palette, but the tones in here are really pretty. I love this complete shade. It's like the best black metallic that I have in my collection. I love the river shade. I love these greeny tones, but I knew Angelica would do a amazing palette. The Club Nebula one that she did with Kaleidos was amazing. She just has a knack for like color combinations and formula, and a lot of things I've picked up, it was based on her recommendation. So I think this is really beautiful. I also adore the Heather Austin palette, the one with Adept Cosmetics. Beautiful creamy foiled shimmers in here, and then I thought the mattes that Heather chose was like perfect to go with these beautiful metallics. You had a little bit of greeny grunge, you had these beautiful like kind of maroony color with this like nice little milky brown. So I was able to just create so many looks. I had so much fun playing with this, and I still adore it, but I really love Adept Cosmetics formula, and they just created something so beautiful. I just love this so much. And then the other collab, which surprised me at how much I ended up falling in love with this, but the Spooked palette from Gourmand Girls, the collab with Doodles by the Bunny. This was such a cute little Halloween release, and I was really impressed with the formula. I thought the mattes were really nice in here, and the shimmers are really pretty. Some are like shifty dual chromes. This matte white was excellent, and this was my first time trying Gourmand Girls, and because of this palette I want to try more, and I'm so happy for Doodles by the Bunny. She had a lot of good collabs last year, and she did amazing with this one. The packaging, color selection, you could do really nudie looks, you could do really colorful looks with this, so this was also amazing. So I have to mention all three. I would feel really wrong if I didn't mention all of them because they were just all so good, and I could go on. I love the one from Teresa from Teresa's Dead, the one she did with Lethal. I love the one that Batty Bean did with Shroud. I mean, I could list so many good collabs from last year. Then the next question is the worst collaboration, and I could name several. There was also a lot of terrible collabs from last year, and one of my answers is the same that Annette said, but all the Hip Hop collabs were horrible. Made no sense to me, and I don't know who picks up those collabs. Like, it blows my mind. Like, whenever I see them come out with a palette, I'm like, oh, what's the weird collaboration this time? I think they did one with like Cup of Noodle, I think, and then the one with Applebee's. Like, what? Why all this food stuff? Like, who actually wants these things? I don't get Hip Hop. Also, any of the Make It Revolution collabs I thought were terrible. And I think the worst of the worst, like that top the charts that no one can beat, the collab with Fenty and Mischief. what was that? Who actually bought that besides people who were reviewing it to roast it? The whole idea of getting ketchup packets and that you might have some of the gloss bomb or you might get ketchup. Who thought that was a good idea? Why did that even go to production? It really stumps me. Like, I can't believe that was an actual real release. It was terrible. I don't know who wasted the $25 to do that to themselves. Like, why would you want to chance getting ketchup? I could just go buy a bottle of ketchup and buy a Fenty Gloss Bomb and be much better off. But yeah, to me that was like the #1 worst collab that I ever saw. Then the next question is best seasonal release, and this was super easy. The Christmas palettes from Oden's Eye. I don't think any brand has ever nailed the Christmas theme like they did. Their Merry Christmas palette and their Christmas Eve palette have beautiful packaging. Like, look at that. Gorgeous. Then the color stories were so beautiful. This one's my favorite. I love like the blue tones in here. But the color options, the quality, the formula, the presentation, everything was so beautiful on this release. Like, look at this one too. It's so gorgeous. I can see myself using this all year round. Like, I don't know if any brand will ever be able to top these. These are the best Christmas palettes and seasonal palettes that I have ever purchased. Then the next question is a palette that is still on your mind, and that is the Beaute Bar Strange and Unusual palette. So when they first did their like initial pre-order, it ended up selling out before I could purchase it. Then they did the second pre-order, and at the time I had already purchased a bunch of other new palettes that had came out, so then I felt like, oh, I spent too much, and the palette's like in the $60 range, so I was like, I don't know if I need to pick this up right now. I already have new stuff coming in. And then that ended up selling out when I finally was like, you know what, I'm just gonna get it. And then now it's on its third pre-order, which I think it's actually available right now. And now that I brought it up, I think maybe I need to finally purchase it because I cannot stop thinking about it. Every time I see someone feature it or I see a photo of it, I'm like, oh my God, that's gorgeous. And the reviews were overall quite positive about the palette, and I really enjoyed the like other palettes that I've tried from them. So that is one that I think I need to just end up buying. Like, I just need to get it because I can't stop thinking about it. I might as well just purchase it. Then the next question is, what are you hoping to see for this year? Like, for releases and like palettes. And honestly, this is not going to happen. I wish it would, but I wish brands would slow down on their releases like how it used to be, so you could really be excited about the product and get a chance to play with it and enjoy it before the next new thing comes out. But this is never gonna happen, especially with ColourPop. Like, the world would freeze over before ColourPop would slow down on releasing collections. But I just wish brands would do that and give consumers a chance to just enjoy the palette they just bought from the brand, because you get it in the mail, you finally get a chance to play with it, and then bam, there's another palette, another beautiful color story, and then you feel the need to buy that. And I feel like it makes us want to just keep consuming and consuming because there's always something new to buy. I just wish it was like the older days where there was so much hype over a release and then it came out and you had to really play with it and enjoy it before the next release came out. But I highly doubt that would happen, but that is what I will hope for this year, that maybe brands would just slow down a bit, give us a break here. Then the next question is, what don't you want to see more of this year? And that would be pressed glitters. I don't know why brands keep including them in a palette, but I feel like most people don't like pressed glitters, and I feel like it's just a filler in a palette. Most of those kind of shades are cheaper to formulate, and I'd rather just have the metallics and the mattes, because that's what I'm mainly going to use from a palette. So if it has a pressed glitter, it ends up just being untouched, because it's very rare that I go in with a glitter. Like, every now and then I like to use a little glitter, but I'd rather have it in like a separate palette, like how Nabla has it in like little quads. If I'm feeling extra pizzazzy, I will pull those palettes, but I don't want them in my regular palettes. It just takes up space, and I feel like it's just a filler that brands use to make the palette cheaper for them, but yet they still have a high price tag so they can profit. I just don't want to see those anymore. I wish they would stop doing that. Then the very last question is, what are your personal goals to improve on this year? And that would be getting better at doing graphic liner looks. Like, I have been venturing into liner looks, and I feel like I started to like play with that a little more last year, but I want to get better at my technique and try different shapes, try to create little images. Like, I think it's so cool, and I love seeing people do it. So I feel like if I just keep practicing, I can get good at it too. I don't have to just admire it on others. That is something I really, really want to work on. And then I also want to get better at putting on false lashes. I have them on right now, and hopefully they don't look messed up. I think an edge is sticking up. Like, that's how bad I am with putting on falsies. I really, really struggle getting them stuck on, getting them lined up right. I feel like an edge is always sticking up, or it's not close enough to like my natural lashes. Like, I want to get better at putting those on. I don't want it to take so long for me to put on falsies, because I think they're fun. They can really add to a look, and I think some looks just look really good with falsies added, even though I do also like just using mascara and rocking my natural lashes. But that is another thing that I would like to get better on. Anyways, guys, that was everything for this tag. All my thoughts on the palettes I tried last year. It was a chance to give you like my best and worst and like a kind of condensed video, but I'm really curious on what you guys think and what would be your answer. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments below and how you would answer these questions. Also, if you did enjoy this video and you like a lot of fun, colorful makeup content, you like a lot of stuff in indie makeup and tags, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. I would love to have you here. Also, don't forget to check out the description below. I will have all the palettes that I mentioned today linked, as well as any videos of mine that I did on any of these palettes. I'll also have my makeup that I'm wearing, like what's on my face and my eyes. I did actually film this look, and that video is probably already up on my channel, so I'll link it below. I'll put it in the corner if you want to see how I did this. I used the Wicked Widow Beauty Scissor Hand Palette 2 to create this beautiful eye look. It's such a gorgeous palette. I will also have my contact and my social media platforms. I'm also on Instagram as Breezy Lifestyle and Breezy_Beauty. So if you want to see some different content from me, then definitely join my Instagram fam. I would really, really love that. But guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, for being here, supporting my channel, being amazing. I just appreciate you guys all so much. But I just hope you're all doing well wherever you are in the world, and I'm just sending you out so much light and love. But until next time, bye guys.